I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the meeting to order.
Turn that on.
Let's see, Benji's not here, I had one matter to turn over to him. You guys may remember last, I want to say it was late spring, early summer. There were two groups of people here, I don't see either one tonight. One was a guy named Jim Nowacki, and the other one was Ron and Roberta Critchfield. Neighborhood dispute that they had put some riprap down in a waterway under the pretense that it was going to keep the road from washing. And it really is a neighborhood dispute, it doesn't involve the county. But they're into it hot and heavy now. I think the Critchfields may have turned them into the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. They came out and looked, and because this concrete slabs and the riprap they had put in there had been coated with some kind of sealant, that it's deemed to be toxic, and the Nowackis are going to have to remove that from there. And that's what they're arguing with now. But at any rate, the Nowacki's attorney out of Indianapolis that called me, talked to me, sent me a letter, that when they move that riprap out of there, when they dig it out of there and everything, it might cause further problems with the county road because it would be shoring it up. But I think I remember Benji saying, like say last spring or early summer, that the water was 50 feet from the county road or something. It wasn't right up there.
It's right up kind of against it.
Is it? Okay. But at any rate, I told him I would make Benji aware of it as the county highway superintendent. So if they do move the riprap and everything, you may have to take some kind of action to preserve the county road. So all I was going to do was pass this along to Benji, and that's really all I have for you this evening.
So, are we sure that what they're doing is not causing further damage to what it would have been if they'd left it alone, and then it comes our expense?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been out there.
What the deal is,
relied on Benji.
there's a culvert that runs underneath the road, pretty big one, and this guy, it was washing the road some, and he just got this concrete stuff, and on his own, he dumped it around this culvert.
Didn't Gary Stahl take it out there and dump it from someplace he cleaned up?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what Critchfield's thing was.
I think you're right. I think it was
That's what he said in here
a
that night.
cleanup job from someplace.
Uh-huh.
At any rate, that concrete had a sealant that had been.
But, yeah, it's just open concrete that looked like a sidewalk or something. But they busted it up.
I think it's when the guy had the fire up north of town there by John Scott's building. Our new hardware guy, lumberyard man.
Oh, really?
I think when they cleaned that up, then he took it out there.
Oh, really?
That's what Critchfield said.
At any rate, I just wanted to make you aware of that. I think we should probably make Benji aware of it. In fact, I'm going to give him this letter, just so he can see, is there any potential damage to the county road, or does the county need to do anything to shore up the road, or whatever the situation may be. But
So
Nowacki's
who's
and
taking on the responsibility of cleaning it up?
according to Nowacki's attorney, IDEM is going to force them to do it. The Nowacki's is going to force them to do it. And they're trying to do some bargaining with them over what needs to be done and so forth.
So we don't touch it, basically.
We don't touch it, yeah.
So
We don't
Brian
want to
didn't want to
touch
touch it before, remember?
Right. It's really a dispute between the two
Them.
neighbors. We don't need involved with it, but whenever someone goes to remove the riprap, which apparently is going to be done by the Nowacki's,
just,
Jane, I'll just give you this
Okay.
letter, and you can give
Give
it
it to
to
Benji.
Law.
okay.
That's all I really have.
But I guess my question again is how much damage would have been done had it been left alone? Well, they're gonna remove everything, but I'm sure there was some kind of protection already there. You know, that's what I'm wondering, is
I don't know. I've never been out
they make a
there.
mess and it's hard to fix.
Well,
That's my,
good, well, yeah. I don't think we'll have to fix anything, but we may not want anything to happen to the road. I don't
That's
know
what I mean.
what would have happened to the road if it hadn't been put in there to begin with. I remember Benji at the time hadn't been out to look at it. He's personally looked at it. That's all I know.
well, I just remember how they talked to us whenever Larry Walker mowed too close to their trees, you know, and it wasn't friendly. So I wonder,
You might just ask them to put it back as it was or as they left it, or put a couple of the riprap in there while IDM is cleaning it up.
and that's so much better than it was, Marty, so.
That's it, yeah, for right now.
Brenda?
Okay, and the minutes for you to sign.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes of the last meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
This first claim is on the dump truck. We need that claim signed.
Make a motion to approve the call of claims.
I second
And this is on the new phones, not the jail.
And that we settled, they're all,
And there is an extra line that's not just computer generated, that is a landline with Frontier.
Where people can call
So
in.
that if our computers go down, people can still call the courthouse.
I think it's done that way. What do you think it is?
I don't know about that.
I know that
I was never.
people were having a problem when they would try to call in, getting through, but now they can get through. They
Was
fixed
the
that
line
part of
issue-
it.
I think it's all voice over.
My issue last time was that Frontier had not switched the lines for people to call in to Comcast. They hadn't switched, they hadn't pushed the switch or whatever it needed to be done so that the lines would be called in to us.
You could call in on a cell phone, but you could not call in on a
Right.
landline
Right.
using 44.
And that was an issue
9-1.
with Frontier because they just hadn't done that,
But you
whatever
can
they
do so
needed.
now.
Yes. But the other issue, Ray, I
don't
can't
know
answer
about
that.
that.
I can find out if you'd like.
You say the claims was?
And when we had the inspection report signed for the elevator, we have one here for the handicap accessible elevator out there, and one for the lift chair that didn't get signed.
Entertain a motion to
Just Ray has to sign it.
approve my signing these reports.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to that,
What reports are you
for the
signing?
inspections of the elevators.
It's for the handicap and the lift chair, correct?
We already have one for the regular elevator sign.
That's for all three, the new chair and the lift and then Otis.
Yeah. one thing we wanted to check on was if it would be okay if we would pay the bills twice in December, so we wouldn't have so many encumbrances. If we could pay on the 16th too. That way you'll take care of a lot of that.
I don't see any problem with that. You guys have any problem with that?
It just makes it a lot easier then. Thank you. And on, this is to approve the holidays for 2014. And we didn't know about New Year's Eve. What do you,
For this year.
for this year?
We're getting calls from the
Are you saying
departments.
the state-
Different ones are calling and we don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the,
New Year's Eve is no holiday.
No,
Never
they
has been.
usually, what they usually do
You
is
close the
just
courthouse at noon,
at noon
the
and then
offices, so you can close out your
close
offices.
out the books,
We
is what
never
they
use it
usually
as
do.
a holiday.
but we usually,
New Year's Day is a holiday, but not New Year's Eve.
but we lock the courthouse noon. This is people calling in wanting to know what time the courthouse will be locked.
I'll make a motion, we close her up at noon then. You need that?
Yeah.
But everybody still be here working, correct?
Well, not all the offices, our office will be, because the others don't have that much to do. They just gotta get the reports in to us, and we've got to finish up everything.
Doesn't everyone have to count out their money
Yeah.
and receipt all that in and
Yes.
everything?
Mhm.
and then
See,
they
we
read-
can't receipt it in until they
Yeah, but
get done with theirs.
it takes them till 2 or 3, doesn't it?
Yeah, they'll stay, they'll be here a while.
Did you
Yeah.
include these holidays in your motion?
Don't we usually approve the holidays the first meeting of?
Uh-huh. You won't approve them until in 14. The only ones you really needed to know about was New Year's Eve.
This year.
Yeah.
So we give the public an answer when they call.
Very good. You second that motion, Marvin? Yeah. We're all in favor of it. All right.
That's all I have.
Ray, I have a couple things here that Benji needed signed. And one is that supplement to 205 that you approved last time. You signed it, but another commissioner needs to sign it, and Brenda needs to attest to it. Marvin, I need one. It's on Bridge 205.
Well, this is one thing I was trying to catch me last.
Yeah. Trying to catch up where it says sign. And the other is the quotes on 900 North to Blacktop next year, and Wabash Valley's $86,278, and O'Malia is $93,992. And Benji's recommending that you go with Wabash Valley Asphalt, and its margins.
And what were the two numbers again?
86,328 is Wabash Valley. O'Malia's 93,992. And he said it's, the difference is because of how far he has to travel.
And what road was that?
900 North. That, in Marvin's district up there. You want to look at, well, you need to sign it if you accept it. Pass that down to Brenda, then she needs to attest it. We'll just encumber it this year, and then they'll do it before May or June. There's a date that it has to be done by next year.
And did you have that much more?
Yes, he has the money to cover it.
So do we need to,
You need to sign that if you're going to accept it.
do we need to make a motion on that?
Yes.
You need to make a motion if you want, Mark.
I move that we, okay the Blacktop and the 900 North and have,
Wabash.
Wabash Valley Asphalt do that.
I'll second that.
All in favor? And that'll be done next year with your income.
Yes.
No, the only thing I'm thinking of, it's in Luke's district, the guy called me and said a fellow went down 300 north with a tractor pulling some kind of implement, put a gouge all the way from almost 41, almost all the way to Graysville. I've been intending to drive by there, and I just keep forgetting to turn.
So that's our new block.
Yeah, that's a
That's that brand new blacktop.
It did happen.
Did you
I
ever
don't know
see
who
it?
did it, but I
How
go
bad
that
is it?
way and I did notice it.
How bad is it, Marty?
It's not, but it's there. I don't know if it's deep
Can't
enough
have anything nice.
to cup some water or not. I mean, it's not real deep, but it's, I mean, you can see it.
On a bicycle.
Brenda, do you have the bill from John Hanna with you?
No, I don't, not with me.
Can you do that for us? We're not going to discuss that this evening.
That's one we gotta figure out.
We had a little money left over from our dump trucks. And Tom was wanting a trailer, and I told Stevie to look about a tilt trailer that we could pull behind the dump truck and then get rid of our semi. And our tractors wore out, it was replaced. But if we would sell the tractor and the trailer, and then be close to having enough money to pay for this tilt deck trailer, I think. Jane, was it 16.9 or
I think it's
17.9?
18.5.
Okay, that's a different price than what Stevie told me, but then,
I think that's what's on the paper, 18.5. And then I think it's $2 a mile for shipping.
that's probably a different thing.
It might be. Because it's gonna be another 2,000, I know, because it's down, way down in Alabama.
And then I've got to have a new tractor to mow roadsides with. I didn't have one pretty much all year.
You'll have 104,000 in new equipment if nothing gets cut, each one of you.
But this ain't,
But
Um,
we've got some money that we're going to encumber.
That we would like to get an invoice out on before the 16th.
do the tractor, do we own the tractor jointly, or is it,
No,
no, that's
no,
yours?
I mean, it was just twos, I think it cost what? It's been there.
Do you need a motion then to move forward on the trailer?
I just, yeah, and the tractor, we don't know how much it's gonna be yet.
But it's not gonna be in excess of 20,000.
The tractor probably will be.
Oh, the tractor.
Yeah,
But you don't have to advertise for it, Luke, if it's,
it's under the limits advertised, I just want to discuss it with you all. And, I mean, the one I've got, we mow a week and be broke down for 3. And I think we borrowed your tractor the whole time we were doing those millings and stuff, and then
How much is of the money's left over from the trucks?
about 70.
so that's going to be the bulk of it for the tractor and trailer.
And how was that money budgeted originally?
We just put it in, we just had it, into new equipment and lease.
It was a combination of about 3 different.
The
Yeah.
council gave you 180 and we had 73 from FEMA, and then I think the regular budget was 155.
So basically, the FEMA money is what we got left, a little less.
Is the truck, or the tractor you gonna buy it this year?
At least get an invoice.
If it goes over what we have, then we'll just pay it out of next year's money, but to use up what we've got now, if we have an invoice, we can go ahead and invoice it in.
Well, that's where the need is.
So hopefully they can mow, rain or shine. Can't mow in the rain, but mow on not quite as nice a day.
Need a motion then, okay?
I don't think so, because we don't even have numbers yet, so, I mean, I just wanna make you guys aware of it, make sure it was okay.
That's where the need is. The thing we're gonna need at some point is a loader, I think, and otherwise we're in good shape, so I don't think we're gonna be begging for the money too much. It's cool.
John, we don't need a motion until we've actually got a piece of equipment, do we?
But you probably better make a motion tonight, is why I'm saying Ray, because the next time we'll have the bill already in here on the 16th, see. We'll have to have the claim to her by the 13th.
If you wanna use that money.
So why don't you make a motion to give him the authority to go look or to
On,
purchase
on,
the tractor and the trailer. A mowing tractor and a trailer.
And you mean the invoice has to be in by the 13th?
Right.
what if it's over the
If
70?
it's over that, then the remainder, he'll have
Will
to pay
come
out
out
of
of
his
his-
new money next year. We'll just carry it, and
So
we'll
that's
just
no-
spend,
That's no big deal.
no, we're just spending what we have, Luke.
Okay.
We're not gonna overspend.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move forward with purchase of the trailer and the mowing tractor.
I'll second that.
All right, I appreciate it. I'll be in favor of that too. And, you know, we can advertise the semi and the trailer to sell or.
When's the,
Probably next spring and everything, just
Yeah.
put it in the sale out there, won't you?
yeah, we had a lot of luck with our other,
Now, back to the courtroom deal. John, did you have a chance to?
Brenda showed me that when she got it. And neither her nor I knew who this person was, why they were submitting a bill. Neither one of us could remember the commissioners ever taking action to engage his services. Never met him, haven't heard of him or anything else. All of a sudden, this bill shows up one day here at the courthouse. And my first reaction to Brenda was, well, we'll get with Eric Murray and Judge Springer about this. Maybe they know something about it. We don't, but to our knowledge, the commissioners never entered into any type of service agreement or contract with this fellow to oversee anything to do with the new courtroom. And I think it's a bill that probably ought to, that may have been authorized by the county council, but maybe needs to be referred to the county council for payment.
Luke, can you shed any light?
that was for me. I called John McCammon on it to ask him about, he said he recalls him hiring somebody to assist him, make sure everything was ADA compliant. Because Eric Murray hadn't took on a project of that scale, but he doesn't remember the firm's name and he doesn't remember the terms of it. But he said that the county council wanted to have somebody oversee it.
But now the council's wanting to pay half and the commissioners half.
If you look back in your minutes, he came in here and John Hanley III, drew up the specs
For the court.
for the courtroom. And at that time, it was awarded
I found that in the council.
you found that in the commissioner's minutes.
I did in the council too.
Well, then the commissioners referred it, sent it to the council
Sent it to
for
the council.
funding. And Eric was supposed to do it for like 236,000, and wasn't Hanley to be paid 13,000 for his specs. And you'll find that that's the only thing that,
That's, we're down, we didn't find that.
unless,
The proposal's in there, but I could not.
unless they came back to the council and got approved later on, when they did changes.
They haven't changed it since I've been here. He hasn't come to the
No,
commission.
but changes was done outside the meetings, is what I'm saying, Luke, on the courtroom.
Well, that may be, but it also costs $600,000.
Well, that's why I'm saying it didn't finish up at $236,000.
I think what's into the council.
It's already been to the
They've
council.
been, this lately, recently,
Yeah,
At the last meeting.
they
Last
sent
meeting.
back to us.
They paid half of it,
They will pay half.
They said they will pay half of it.
but they felt it was legitimate apparently.
In the council minutes, did they ever enter into a contract with this guy?
It was in there, I seen where the guy was there, you know, and just presented it, but
What have we paid him
nobody
so far?
seemed to have seen him
16,
anywhere.
140,
How much?
16, 140.
He was to be paid 13 for his.
Well, I'm saying 13, 16 could be right, but, you know, it was
Right
in
in
that
that
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Yes, it was nothing like this. Because
What's he asking for today?
28,519.
On top of what we've already paid him?
Yeah,
I don't think we owe him that much, surely to God, they ain't.
I mean, you're talking about $45,000.
This guy's just doing drawings, basically, isn't it?
The specs that he drew up and everything was for Eric. You know,
Did he do additional work whenever we had these change orders?
well,
Yes, he did the redesign,
He furnished us copies of the redesign.
and that's part of that bill.
We have copies of the redesign.
I don't know, here,
I never did. I mean,
I
he
don't.
never came into a meeting and did it,
No.
Luke, you know that.
we never seen him.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
And this was invoice 2011, and this one is 2013. So,
No, that's pretty salt tape.
I have never seen him.
you know,
I mean, it ought to go to whoever authorized the service. And
This
I
board
don't
did,
think the commission.
this board didn't do it.
Well, the proposal is sent to the previous board, it's in there, the proposal is,
But did that board ever act on
I don't know.
In 2011 they did. Or when was it? 2000,
Well, that was
Nine.
for 2009.
2009, they accepted it, John. And the council appropriated the funds. And that,
For the 16,000.
and that for the courtroom, for whatever Eric's bid was. The change orders and everything never came before you.
We'll just write him a letter and see who authorized the changes.
well, I don't think that's, the change orders have already been paid for. Because they had to redesign handicap accessibility due to the fire marshal's request. So that was done, and I think that was an additional $7,500 or something to that effect.
But we're still $22,000 off.
28.
Yeah, but I mean, even if we take the $7,500 off the top for the change orders, we're still a long way.
I mean, that was already paid for in the other one.
Oh, you mean the change,
16.
paid for the change orders?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, I don't think that's, we don't approve that.
Table it until he shows up and explain it.
phone number we have for him doesn't work.
I wouldn't worry about it. We paid him $16,000.
Well, they'll sue us if we don't pay it. That's-
Let them.
Well, it's,
Of the 28, and then, so you say the council's gonna pay 14?
Tell him keep the 14, I wouldn't be paying that.
Why won't the council approve the whole 28?
They said they felt like, you know, part of it was commissioners and part was council. They would split the bill.
We paid this guy $16,000 for change orders and the original deal. Don't pay him no more. That's enough.
Says here 2009 council consultant contractual. So the council must have agreed to do it.
If you want me to, I'll go back 09, whenever it all started, and read all the way through and see if we can find
Any commissioner.
anything.
It isn't in the commissioners, but it could be in the council.
Yeah, but
I had Brenda and James look.
The commissioners shows where they opened it up and what they agreed on. And then they sent it, forwarded it to the council for approval. And I think he was here the day that the courtroom was dedicated.
And see, I was here and no one introduced me to him. That's when
Did you
we were-
meet him?
I met him the day he was here in 2009. He brought these big old, I remember, I was in the back row, but yes, I remember.
Okay, well then I think he was here the day of the dedication of the courtroom.
I'll entertain a motion to send it back to the council for reconsideration.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to that.
All in favor?
Okay.
No, we're right there for that, too.
Yes, exactly.
All right, John, I hope that was good advice. You'll see.
When the council cut my salary out next year.
Kenny, it's your turn.
Yes, at the last council meeting, we wrote a check for $50,000 for another payment on the ambulance. And I believe we just have one payment left next year, $50,000. And our cash balance prior to writing that check was $152,000. And of course, we'll still be getting monies in until the end of the month. So I think financially, we're doing okay, doing good. And also, I'd like to introduce you guys to Lisa Rooney. She's from the Blue Accounting Firm in Indianapolis. She contacted me a couple months ago about potentially getting money back from Medicaid. And so Val will give her the floor.
Okay. I work for a public accounting firm, and I have been doing audits and reimbursement work for hospitals for 20 years with Blue and Company. We're regional, and a regional firm. And the hospitals that I work with receive payment from the federal government that's pulled down by the state, and the hospitals have to put up matching or put up funds to match it to get these dollars. And so hospitals have been getting these payments for years, and what it is our state's Medicaid payments are really, really low, as you know. So when a patient walks in, the payment's not very much relative to the charges. But when at the end of the year, what hospitals get is they get what's called a supplemental type of payment, or they call it a disproportionate share. So if your hospital does a disproportionate share of Medicaid, and their payments are really low, we can audit that and we can say, this is what, a particular Gary, Indiana, Gary Methodist Hospital, or Wishart, or, some of those are huge, huge recipients of these dollars. So ambulance has never been a part. So what we do at Blue & Company is we do cost reports, and cost reports for hospitals have several different departments, and ambulance is one line item on that. And it takes all of the cost and it dumps it into revenue generating departments. And so ambulance gets overhead from the CFO and the CEO and housekeeping and any kind of expense that the hospital is incurring. The reason that I'm telling you about this is because hospitals do this report, and it's called a cost report. And so ambulance has a line item on there, that shows how much it costs for the year, how much the charges were, and so the cost divided by the charges is their cost to charge ratio. And this is probably way more information than you guys want. But anyway, all of my ambulances that are at a hospital, this year we were able to pull down federal dollars for ambulances too. They were always excluded before. So we have submitted the ones that were with the hospitals, and what we found out is some of the counties would say, well, you know, even though we don't have a provider-based ambulance, we have one in our county and we'd like to help them out. And so we started calling some of these, and they weren't aware of it. They didn't know that they were eligible for these dollars. And so when we started calling around, and I talked to Kenny, and he's been really, really helpful in giving me lots and lots of information very quickly. But we've engaged a number of freestanding ambulance providers in the state, and what we do is that cost report. So what we do is, I don't know, has anyone saw the bulletin on the program? Okay. And so you have to have a cost report just like a hospital does in order to pull those dollars down. So if you just took your total cost and you divide it by your total charges, and if you took your, I have the numbers here if anyone cares about numbers, and I also have the governmental checklist that you would have to provide to show only government entities receive this money. When they decided to give it to, or to pull these numbers down, it's not state dollars. The state's just administering it. Okay, so the state doesn't care. I mean, they're not trying to keep anyone from getting it. They sent out tons of bulletins. They've tried to get people to sign up. And as of today, I was talking to the state again, and they haven't had very many freestanding ones submitted, aside from the ones that we've been working with. So sometimes I call somewhere and they're like, well, we already have Medicaid. This is not a Medicaid program. It's not patient specific. It's simply, I know what your Medicaid charges are for each of those 2 years. And you just take that, and you take that times that cost to charge ratio. So if you take your cost divided by charges, and I'm going to use 0.5 because I think it's a little conservative, but for you guys, you're pretty efficient. And some of the other ambulance providers that are maybe with fire or something could be like 2.5. It costs them 250% of what they charge to provide those services. So if you guys were at 0.5, that means for every dollar you charge, it costs you 50 cents. And so what the state has said is, we'll take your Medicaid charges, we'll take that times the cost to charge ratio to determine what your cost is, right? And then once they determine your cost, they say, we've already paid you this amount. So for 2012, which was a lot more Medicaid than 2011, you guys could probably explain, you know, why that would be. But in 2012, so you had, well, you did have around $97,000 in charges. And so if I take that times 0.5, and when I say that 0.5, that's an estimated number, because I haven't done the report, so I don't know where your cost and your charges are, but Kenny's provided me with enough information. He's given me the charges from the billing company and his budget amounts that they had. And we've, you know, I think it's pretty close. If I take that, you have 48,000, they paid you 21,000, so you end up with 27,000, and you have to take that times the FMAP. They're of course not going to give you 100%, and you end up with like $18,000. And that's for 2012. They are giving you 11 and 12 retro. Hospitals are always paid retroactive too. Your 2011 payment, you could expect, they said before the first quarter in 2014, but we asked for an extension. These were all due at the end of November because no one was coming forward and claiming the money. And so they have given us to the end of January, or giving you all until the end of January to get these reports submitted. So you would get 11, hopefully, in the first half of 2014 anyway. You should get 12 and 14. In 2013, you would get that. In 2015, it's always that, you know, retroactive like that. So they don't, as long as they fund it, and hospitals have been getting this money forever. In fact, a few years ago, nursing homes started getting this money too. So now ambulance is getting the money too. So for you all, it's probably 30,000, you know, give or take. I can't, without doing the numbers, I can never give you a dollar amount. But who's the controller? Are you, or the auditor? Are you the auditor? I don't know how, you know, you can go in and you can put this report together yourself. You don't need us to do it for the amount of money that you guys are getting back. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's worth applying for. If you put anything in there and you don't hire me, you're going to get something back for it. The one thing you do have to be careful about though is, let's say that your cost is so low that Medicaid actually paid you more than your cost, then you would have to pay it back. But you don't have to turn in the report. So you just wanna make sure that, that you're compliant with, it's called an OMB circular 87, but the state's number is on this bulletin, and you can call them and he'll help you a little bit to do it. We do it, but you have to pay us to do it if we do it for you. So, some places are like, well, it's not gonna get done otherwise, so anything we get, great, you do it. If we do it on, well, we do it for $10,000 per year, which obviously you guys aren't going to do that. Or a contingency fee, which is 25%, which is capped at $25,000, which you probably wouldn't care about either, because I'm not showing your cost to charge ratio being so high, or your Medicaid charges, that it would be, make any sense to do it on the flat fee. But I've, talked to these guys, they've pulled a lot of data together. I think they have a really great idea of what they have to do, because it's, like your depreciation on your ambulance, so you would not, you guys use the cash basis. And so when I'm looking at the appropriation report that Kenny provided me with, it's showing, the cost of the ambulance, the total cost, because you paid for all of it, but you would have to to be compliant with that, you'd have to take that and depreciate it out so many years, and you'd only get so much. But that also makes me think there may be expenses in prior years that you had on this report that could still be being depreciated out into 11 and 12, and even maybe 13 or 14 for the ambulances, and you have a 2010 ambulance, and that one can be. So any expense that anyone incurs on behalf of the ambulance service can be included in that expense when you're trying to determine your cost charge. So you can help it a lot if you can find additional expense. It seems like you guys have most of the expense in here, but if the county is incurring any benefits, any pension, it looks like pretty much you guys have a lot of things already included in here. Other places don't have as much. They have a lot of it in a different fund as opposed to the general fund. So, do you have questions? That's a lot, I know.
You just charge a quarter contingent on us getting money. Quarter of them.
If you don't, right, and,
No minimum charge, basically, at this point, what you're proposing.
that's right.
And 2011 is as far back as you can go.
Yeah, you can just get 2011 and 2012. And if you do contingency with us, you don't pay us until you get your money. So if you never got anything, then, so.
They'll send a check to her, and then you just.
They will send the check to probably whoever, I don't know anyone they haven't audited these yet or looked at them, the state. So I don't know anyone that's received a check for these. But with hospitals, they just send them to the hospital.
Yeah, I think we ought to go with your firm. What's the name of your firm?
Do you guys want to look at it first and see if you want to try it?
I want to see what we have to lose.
No.
No, but I mean, see if you want to try to do it yourself.
Oh, I think I'd be able to agree with that. That's what we're doing.
I hate to put you on the spot, but
Yeah.
it's,
In your spare time.
when it's 30,000 and you're looking at,
You're
giving
talking
3,000
between
away.
now and January, when are you gonna have time?
End
to
of
clean?
January, last day of January, that's when.
Better off just letting them do it, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
At least do the first one,
yeah, they can at least do first.
because after you do the first one.
And that's in our engagement letter, is we say, we'll help you, so then you know the things that we disallow, the things that we allow. But some of that's up to all of you. If you know of expenses and things that are anywhere,
It's not that I don't think we can do it, it's just the time management at this point.
The only
Because
thing,
we're
you guys are
getting-
gonna have a lot to do to just
Yeah.
furnish them with numbers on these old ambulances, and you're gonna have plenty to do on it. I make a motion to go with their firm on this one, and they get a quarter of what we get.
I second that.
And what is the name of your firm?
it's Blue and Company, I'll give you a card. I can tell you that, I think you guys are the only county, and it's only because I started working with Kenny early on that, that's getting it for this price. I don't think anybody else will be under the $10,000 mark, contingency that we're working with. because we're not really targeting. So it's probably worth it if you're not, I mean, I don't know, 3,000 is 3,000, you get 30, but,
Oh, wait a minute, I'm lost.
But you're saying we're gonna be doing it for 25%.
or 25%, I'm sorry, it's not, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
scared me there for a second.
Yeah, I know, 75, yeah, it's
Yeah,
still,
25%.
still a good.
With no minimum charge.
No, there's no minimum, but there is a maximum of.
There's a maximum of 25,000, if you can find enough expense that, that we would actually be getting 25,000 per year, then, we wouldn't take more than the 25,000.
We'll all be in favor. Kenny, you may get your ambulance paid for quicker than you thought.
Yeah, I was
Oh, that'd be
thinking,
nice.
Well,
money's good money.
that gives us incentive too to keep up the fleet, really, if we get reimbursement on it.
Do you have another card?
I have. as
I
many
guess
cards as you
Mr.
want, do you?
Mr. Elmore has the contract. You still have that, John? Okay. I just don't want to sign anything myself. I don't want my name on nothing.
Well, they're looking for that. Does anyone else have any old business as you arrive? Deanne?
I had asked at the last meeting about using the courthouse for the Streets of Sullivan, Victorian Christmas celebration this Friday. And the president of that group asked me if the commissioners would allow Santa to be in the rotunda this Friday from 5 to 9. But Santa himself thinks it's too hot and would rather not be, but the president of the board still asked.
Deanne, the only concern I have, do you have enough people to keep everybody contained?
No, we don't. We only have 6 volunteers doing the whole festival, and there's no way we're gonna have 2 people getting up and standing to the side of the stairs.
Is bathrooms open anyhow though?
The bathrooms would be open, but that would lock people from coming into the,
He can be outside, that's cool.
well, I think they're gonna put him in the
It's
building.
get warm and it's.
And outside.
I mean, on the north side of the square, so
On the
they have
north.
permission to put him in a building on the north side of the square, if it's really snowing hard. And that's where the ads come out in the paper already, that it would be in the building on the north side. But I was just asked to come the next,
In this building on the north side?
yes, the empty one.
Well, then if you've got a place inside, I believe that would be.
Yeah, I'm with on that deal.
So we do not. Thank you, Deanne.
Well, I called him before your meeting, and he said he thought it'd be too hot. He tried it about 4 years ago, ended up being outside freezing. Sick from being too hot in the suit. That sounds funny, but Santa got too hot.
He said Santa got booted.
Santa got booted, and he got hot before that.
Santa got the boot.
I've got 3 letters of interest for the
Yeah,
redevelopment commission. We want to do this meeting or next meeting? We only have to. And the council, these 2 are already serving. So that's Mike and Bob, and then that's Grant Bryant. Veteran serves on the Southwest School Corporation.
We're just making one appointment.
No, you have,
Oh, making 3 appointments.
We either do it this meeting or next meeting,
You have that already?
and then the council makes 2 appointments to the same board.
I'm saying that the president of the commissioners just signed.
Bob McCammon, Larry Swain, and who's the other one?
Grant
I
Bryant,
have to kill him and give it to you.
B-R-Y-A-N.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Let's go ahead and knock it out.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Grant Bryant, Bob McCammon, and Larry Swain
I'll make that motion.
to the redevelopment commission. All in favor, and while we're discussing that, we don't have to do it until after the first of the year. I'd like to trade places with Marvin as far as West Central. With my work schedule, I can't make it to the meetings, and we need to be represented there.
When do they meet?
Last week,
It's last week.
yeah, I couldn't miss a meeting.
The last Monday every other month.
Last Monday of the month.
Last Monday, every other month.
Thanks.
every other month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where do they meet?
They're usually at the senior daycare, over that Mellon daycare, right there just north of the overpass. Just Second Street.
4th Street, McMillan Daycare,
Melvin.
McMillan, near the hospital.
Either one of you would be interested in doing that, because I don't, can't make there every time, and I would be willing to serve on the development commission. Advisory board. That made most of those issues.
When's the next, what months do they meet, odd month or?
They met in the end of November, so it must be the odd month.
So it'd be January, they would meet again to January.
But I was just bringing that up, so we can be thinking about it. No other old business, are you Steve Letterman?
Commissioners, I had a call about 2 weeks ago from a representative from the U.S. Navy. And the Navy has hired a consulting firm to do a digital map of the Crane Naval Base over in Martin County, and also do a map of any buildings, any roads. We're going to put, I guess, their own internal addressing for the Crane Base and the Glendora Lake Test Facility, which is in Sullivan County. It looks like the Glendora Test Facility is about, you drew a straight line about 3 miles from the courthouse, and if you drove it, a little over 4 miles. But what they wanted to do is when they're done creating these roads and addresses for these 2 naval facilities, they want to establish a closer relationship between the bases and the public safety agencies that are local where these bases are based. So if there's an emergency, 911 dispatch, sheriff's department, EMA, they've got more detailed information of what's inside those bases as far as roads and addresses and buildings. And if there was some kind of emergency, there would be better communication between, they both have a map and they can talk with each other. So what they ask us to do is put together a data exchange agreement, which is basically that the Navy wants to share the information that they're creating for their 2 bases. And in turn, they'd like county road and county address information and emergency service number boundaries, which are the response boundaries that 911 dispatch has. And so that way, and these 2 layers would be updated, so as they update or the county updates, then both sides have updated information. And so they basically want to share their information and want the county equivalent information so that they have it on their machines. So I've put together a data exchange agreement. There is no charge to the county, there's no charge to the Navy, and there's no charge basically to anybody. That's one of the services that we provide. But that's basically what this request is. And the agreement, on the last page of the agreement, has listed the specific information that would be in this exchange. So the county would be providing point addresses, road center lines, and those emergency service number boundaries. U.S. Navy would be providing building footprints, address points, road center lines, and their boundary. So that is what is before you tonight.
And ours is information that we've already got.
This is information you already have. It's information you can put on your public website. They just want it so that they can put it on their computer. And so there's no new information coming from the county, and it's information that's publicly available. It's just providing them in a format that they can use.
But the information they're providing is new information, and I think that would be helpful to 911 dispatch and anybody responding to something.
I'll move we enter the information sharing agreement.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We're all in favor.
Ms. Navy's being more transparent than in the past.
Yeah, most everybody can look at it some way or another.
True, these days.
What have we taken care of that?
That was all the one.
Oh, that's just your copy.
That's just a copy of.
Brenda, why don't you guys keep the original and then Brenda, if you could either fax or email it.
What is your fax number? Your fax number?
259.
Or email, yeah,
just-
is it on?
I'll send you an email tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I'll
All right,
move we
that'll work.
adjourn.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else with new business? No? Come back. We need to discuss this in the meeting.
We'll get, last year we had a county deed sale. On an experimental basis, we ended up selling 10 out of 12 pieces of property. And we're getting the next batch ready to go. Nancy's helping me with it. And we've got 23 right now targeted, and maybe one more paying at P24. But we're ready to file the petitions for the tax title deeds to get them in the county's name and everything. But we just need the president of the commission to sign all the petitions. So I told Ray not to go anywhere after tonight's meeting until he signed his name 46 times. But we are moving towards that goal. Hopefully by the time we get to February or so, having another meeting, so like we did in March.
Do we need to make a motion to do this, John, and to continue your services on that?
Well, yeah, assuming you want me to do it.
I'll make a motion that we develop this list and give them to Ray, and Ray approve the list you provided.
All right, we're all in favor. Look, the only other thing I have, we had talked to Brian Kennett a little bit about a building down here that would be for the
FOP.
well, no, for the courthouse, to keep the lawnmower in his
Oh,
little
yeah.
shop. He's, and I don't know where at or how much exactly, but it was in the neighborhood of 7,000 for a 14 by 24 and 6,000 for a 12 by 24. I don't know the exact number, but I told him we would discuss it, but we've got a bill coming from Eric Murray for a bathroom yet, and who knows what this handle bill's gonna be,
Yeah.
so I think we probably should wait on that.
Yeah, they get enough goodies all the time. Tell them to slow down.
If no one else has any new business,
What was the
dimension?
size on the
Yeah.
one for 6,000?
pardon me?
What was the size on the one for 6?
12 by 24, and I don't know exactly, it's around 7,000 and around 6,000, but I don't know the exact numbers.
What company was that with?
I don't know. I was going into to the meeting at North Central the other night, and he told me that, so
I got a motion.
Second.
My second.
Okay.
All in favor?
I got a